Let's start bringing assets into our InDesign file. First of all, what I'm going to do is come over to these pages here and delete those couple extra pages I made. I'll hit the trash can, and I'll hit the trash can one more time to delete those couple pages. And now on this first page, what I want to do is bring in our text first. So I'll come up here to File. I'll come down to Place, or Command D as my shortcut. And then you can place any asset or any document. So that could be a Word doc in this case, or a logo file, or a photo. And I'll click Open. And what it'll do is it'll load my cursor with that asset. So with this loaded, I can do a couple things. I can click and drag, which brings in most of my text. But you'll notice that I do have this little red box with a plus icon, meaning that there's some text that's not falling within that text box. It's overset text. And I can try and drag these handles to make more of it fit, but maybe I still need more space. So what I can do is click on that icon, and what it's going to do is load my cursor again so I can draw another text box, and it's going to link from the bottom of the first to the top of the next. So as I scale this size, it's going to reflow dynamically into the next text box. And maybe I still need even more room, so I could click on that and drag yet another text box. Probably a faster way to work, though, depending on where you're at in your project, would be simply to click on the top left border of your margin. I'll hold down Shift key, and you'll notice my icon changes to that wave form, meaning it's going to fill these margins, but it's also going to create more pages, however many it takes, to fill the document and to not crop anything off or have overset text. So you'll notice as I did that, it went ahead and automatically created 2 more pages. All right, so we've got our text in here. I'm just going to hit Command S real quick to make sure I save. And the next thing I want to bring in is a logo to the top of every page. So you might think off the bat to just drag your logo right into the top of this page, which would be fine. But again, we talked about this in the last video, where now that logo is only on page 1. It's not on page 2 or 3, and I want it on every page. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this, hit Command X to copy it to my clipboard and cut it. Come over to my A Master, and I'll double click here, and then hit Command V to paste it. I'll drag it up into place. Right about there looks good. I get the letter E to get my free transform tool and scale this up just a touch. And there we go. Now that logo will be on every page of my document. Now I want to quickly take a look at another powerful feature of InDesign, and that's paragraph styles. So again, making sure you're in the advanced workspace, come all the way down towards the bottom and click on paragraph styles. Currently, we have a couple that came in with that Word doc that we created, but I want to go ahead and start styling my text. So a good rule of thumb is any text you set for reading, you probably want to have about 12 words across for optimum reading. It's just a number I heard somewhere. I don't know if it's true or false, but I found that that makes a pretty good rule of thumb. So right now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, about 20 words. So we need to make our text a little bit bigger to make it fall within that ideal reading range. So I'm just going to highlight some of this paragraph text here. And let's just kind of bump this up a little bit more. Let's try 14 point. That looks pretty good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's still a little bit, it could be a touch bigger. Let's go to 15 point and we'll call that good. Now my leading needs to be adjusted. It looks like the words are just bumping right into each other. So I'm going to highlight again, and I'm going to adjust my leading till I feel like it's easily read, more legible there. Okay, great. So now what I want to do is actually create a paragraph style out of this. And one last thing here. So I'll just highlight any of this text, and we'll click on this new icon in the paragraph styles window. It's going to create a brand new paragraph style for me. I'll double click on that. And I can name this anything I want. So let's just call this body. This will be our body text. I'll make sure my preview tab is selected. And now I can come through and set a lot more options for this text. So for example, maybe instead of Georgia, we want to make this Helvetica. Set it to regular. We can adjust a lot more settings here, but for right now that looks okay. And we've got some indents and settings. One thing that I usually go through and change is I will make sure that my hyphenation is set to none. So I'll uncheck that right there. And then our character color down here might be another option you might want to update as far as what color you're using for the font. I'll go ahead and click OK right now, and we can see that this chunk of text has the body style set to it. So what I'm going to do is click once in this and hit Command A to highlight everything across every page that we brought in. And I'm going to click on this body style now to apply that to everything. Now you see we get this little plus sign. What that means is we've got our body style plus a few other. So what we want to do is go ahead and override that setting right now. I'll do that by Alt clicking on this icon right here to clear those overrides. And now you see that plus sign goes away, and now truly every piece of text has that applied to it. Now where this comes in really handy is, let's say you have a bunch of different paragraphs set. You can come in after the fact, click on this style, and anything that has that style applied to it will be changed if you ever change your mind. So for example, character color, if we wanted it to be blue, I click on that once, and now all that text that had the paragraph style applied to it will be blue. Now, of course, I don't want it to be blue text. It looks terrible, so I'll make it black. I'll click OK. And now the next text I want to format will be my headings. So I'm going to click in here, grab this introduction title, and I'll create a new paragraph style by clicking on this new paragraph icon. We get paragraph style 1. I'll double click on here, and I'm just going to call this H1. That'll be my heading tag. And we will change the character formats from Helvetica to a font called Freshman. And I'm going to change the case to all caps. I'm happy with the leading for now. I'm going to change my tracking. I'm going to track it out just a touch. And then I'm going to go ahead and click OK. So now what I can do is come through and find all the titles. We'll click once in there. I don't even have to highlight the whole thing. It just sees this whole thing as a paragraph. I'll click on H1 to set that. And I see I've got an extra space between here, so I'll just go ahead and delete that real quick to bring that together. I'll find my next title. I'll click once in there, apply the H1 tag. And again, I'll kind of remove these extra spaces between here. And I still have some overset text now. So I'll come back to my pages. And I see that I've only got 3 pages, but now because of the font changes, we have some overset text. So I'll click once on this little plus sign. I'm going to add a new page starting on page 4. I'll come up to the top here, and I'll hold down Shift to change to my reflow icon and click. So now it'll take the rest of that text that was overset, and it'll flow through until it has enough pages. So now I currently have 6 pages in my document. Now's a good time to hit Command S to save, and let's finish applying those title tags to my other sections. So I'll scroll down and find that last heading here, and I'll come over to my paragraph styles window and apply that H1 tag, remove my extra paragraph, and now we're good there. So we have our text in here, we have some basic paragraph styles set, we have automatic page numbering turned on, and a logo for every page. So now what we want to do is bring in new photos for each section. So I'll jump back to my pages window, and let's go ahead and start by adding a cover. So I'll click up here on page 1, and I will click once on the new icon down here to get a new page right below that page 1. I'll click and drag to bring that in front. So now I've got a brand new page in front without any text on it. Let's go ahead and remove this master page. Currently it's set to the A master page. We'll click on this None icon and drag down to that first page. So now we have no elements on this page whatsoever. I can come over to my Creative Cloud libraries, and I already have some photos that I've brought in specific to this project. So I'll just drag and drop this image right over to this cover page, and you'll notice I get the loaded cursor just like I did with my text. Now if I click once, it's going to paste this at full size for the image, and you'll see that it's not quite full screen, but that's because we haven't purchased it yet, so it's actually just a small sample file. I'll hit Command Z. My loaded cursor icon again, I'll zoom in, and I can also click and drag to make that image as big as I want right out of the gate. I'll hit Command Z one more time, and what I want to do is kind of a hybrid of both. I'm going to click once to get it as big as it can be, and then I'm going to drag it in place, hit the letter E to get my free transform tool over here, and I'm just going to scale this up until it fills in the entire page. Now usually what I would do on a cover like this is I would probably design it in Photoshop, and that's something where again, you can place anything in InDesign. So I would use Photoshop because I'm more comfortable with some of its design resources to create a more compelling cover. And then I would place that Photoshop file right in here like we did this image. But in this case, I want to show you how to work mostly in InDesign. So we're going to go ahead and just place this image. And then with my move tool selected, not my free transform tool, I can actually grab these handles and it will mask instead of actually scaling that image down. So I can just grab these, drag it into place, and now we have an image for our cover. I'm going to go ahead and save here, and then what we're going to do in the next video is push the design just a little bit further and then show you how to export this PDF.